Recorded Books Romance presents an unabridged recording of Never Less Than a Lady by Mary Jo Putney, narrated by Simon Preble. This book is copyrighted 2010 by Mary Jo Putney, Incorporated. This recording is copyrighted 2011 by Recorded Books, producer and publisher of Romantic Sounds, an imprint that features dramatic tales that will carry you away to exotic locales and sweep you off your feet. And now, Never Less Than a Lady.
Prologue. Spain, 1812. War was hell. Letters from relatives could be worse. The day had been full of musket balls and skirmishing. Randall returned to his tent limping, dusty, and wanting to sleep for 12 hours. Washing off the dust was easy. His highly competent batman, Gordon, had water waiting. Sleep was in shorter supply. Relief from his aching thigh was non-existent. Today, Randall had lost one of his soldiers, a raw Irish recruit with an eager smile, which meant that a letter must be written to the boy's family. It was the worst part of being an officer, but every life deserved recognition, and every family deserved to know how one of their own was lost. "The post from England, sir." Gordon handed Randall 3 sealed letters. Randall thumbed through them. One from the Duke of Ashton. His old school friend was his best correspondent. Another from Kirkland, also a school friend and reliable. And the last, he stared down at the arrogant signature that franked the letter. Daventry. The bane of his existence. Randall had been 5 when his parents died of fever. He'd been left in the guardianship of his uncle, the Earl of Daventry. The year that followed was the worst of Randall's life. He had been brought to the Daventry seat, Turville Park, and put in the nursery with the heir, 9-year-old Lord Branford. Large for his age, and with an arrogance that would have been impressive even in an adult, Branford had been a brute and a bully. Randall had learned to fight early. Since the heir could do no wrong, Randall was packed off to school at a tender age. In fact, he'd been sent to several schools, some of England's finest. After being expelled from them in rapid succession, he'd ended up at the Westerfield Academy. As the school's owner and headmistress, Lady Agnes Westerfield, liked to say, it was for boys of good birth and bad behaviour. In the school that Daventry regarded as punishment, Randall had found kindness and friendship. He had endured holidays at Turville with stoicism and clenched fists. He hated Daventry and Branford, and they had despised him in turn. Fortunately, he'd inherited a comfortable income. When Randall left school, he bought a pair of colours and joined the army, ignoring his grand connections as thoroughly as they ignored him. Until now. Wondering what the devil Daventry had to say to him, Randall broke the wax seal and scanned the few lines written in the Earl's bold hand. "Your cousin, Rupert Randall, is dead. You are now heir presumptive to Daventry. You must sell your commission and return home. I will expect you to choose a wife and marry within the next year." Randall stared at the heavy paper, feeling the bitterness in the words. Branford had died years before in some kind of drunken accident, and Daventry's other son, a sickly child, had died young. But there were any number of cousins nearer to the title than Major Alexander Randall. He thought about the family tree. Actually, the number wasn't that great. The Randalls didn't seem to be good breeders. The other heirs had mostly been older. Randall's father had been a much younger half-brother to the current Earl. Apparently, the intervening cousins were all gone now and hadn't left any sons. Randall frowned as he realized that there was no one after him. Otherwise, Daventry would probably have hoped that his despised nephew would die in battle or fever, so that the next in line would become the heir presumptive. But there was no next in line, and Daventry was fiercely proud of the title. Even the prospect that the earldom would go to a man he loathed was better than knowing the title would disappear. Randall's instant reaction to Daventry's order was to refuse, as he always did when his uncle gave orders. But he was a grown man now, not a boy, and the idea of selling out was rather appealing. He was weary of war, weary of the ceaseless pain of a leg that had never fully recovered from a wound the year before. The army didn't need him, though he was